Hello everybody, so I would like to wish everybody a happy new year. I still have my tree up in the background. Still got a few more days to go before we take it down. I am here today to talk about my favourite things of 2023, whether it be films, books, music, video games, makeup, all sorts of things. I just grabbed my phone because I have compiled a list. So, and I'm doing this without my glasses, so we're raw dogging it today. So, I didn't read as many books as I would have liked to this year. I did start a few others, but whether it be they couldn't hold my attention long enough, or I got to the point where I couldn't settle my brain for the last half hour before bed, because a lot of my reading tends to be done before bed. So the two that I did, they're both memoirs and they're both quite emotional. So the first one is Just Ignore Him by Ellen Davis. It was a tough read, I will admit, but it was beautiful in the long run. Alan Davis is a stand-up comedian. He is on the show QI, a British panel show. His mum died of leukemia when he was 6 years old, and then found out that his father was into some weird things. I'm not going to go into it. We'd have to put trigger warnings in if we did go into it, but it is a tough read, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but it was a good read. And my second one, I'm going to mention Richard E. Grant a few times throughout this, because he's kind of been the actor that I've watched his stuff a bit throughout the last few years, but this year I seem to have discovered his stuff the most. He's in the new Saltburn film, which I am yet to see, but I read his book, and it's called Pocketful of Happiness, and his wife of 38 years passed away of cancer in 2021, I believe. And this is his diaries throughout her. And so from the diagnosis to the very end. And then he throws in some little anecdotes from throughout his career. My absolute favourite part was a letter from Bruce Robinson, who was the writer and director of Withnail and I, which will be mentioned a little bit later. And it is vulgar. One of the funniest things I've ever read. So while it's it's so sad, and I just get such a warm vibe from this man. He plays a lot of sort of moody roles, he plays some really grumpy people, but I just get this warm, happy energy from him. So this book was beautiful, and I absolutely recommend it if you're into memoirs and sort of diaries, like produced diaries. So his wife, Joan, was a dialect coach, a Hollywood dialect coach. That's a lot of tributes in the back of people that worked with her. So films, I mentioned Withnail and I. That was probably the first one that I really took note of this year. It is cooked. it is quite cooked. I watched it and I showed Nick, and yeah, we enjoyed it together. It's kind of one of those films you need to be in a silly mood to watch it, because there are some disturbing scenes. It's also got Paul McGann, who I have a soft spot for all the McGann brothers. His brother Stephen is in Call the Midwife. Paul himself was the 8th Doctor, which I think I did recently watch the TV film he did, and I really quite enjoyed it. I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan, but I really enjoyed this one. And Fairy Tale: A True Story was one of my favourite movies as a kid, and I kind of rediscovered it in the last year or so. And he played the father. It's about the Cottingley fairies, based on a true story. So yeah, Richard is in it, Paul McGann, and Richard Griffiths, who was Vernon Dursley in the Harry Potter films, and it was written and directed by Bruce Robinson, and the character of Whitnell was based on one of Bruce's housemates, somebody that had lived with many years ago. Speaking of cooked films, another dumb thing that Nick and I watched together was Weird, the Yankovic Story. So obviously it's a parody on biopics. Nothing accurate about it whatsoever. Daniel Radcliffe is actually a talented actor. He doesn't come across particularly... There was only so much he could do in the Harry Potter films, plus he was quite young, but I feel like he's developed quite significantly as an actor. His skills have developed. But yeah, he's hilarious in this. But yeah, that film is also quite cooked. But I think that's just my sense of humour. I like really dumb things. I like to sit there and just go, what did I just watch? Silver Skates. It was recommended in a video from Darling Desi on YouTube. So it was set over sort of Christmas and New Year's 1899 going into 1900, the turn of the century. And it's kind of got a vibe somewhere between Titanic and Anastasia, both like my vibe anyway, but it's sort of wealthy girl not happy with her, kind of like Titanic, where it's like wealthy girl not really happy with her station, and who falls in love with a poor boy. It's actually just a lovely film. I do enjoy watching it with English dubbing over it, and surprisingly the English dubbing is quite well acted, because I have seen hideous dubbing. Squid Game, the English dubbing was terribly acted, but yeah, just the aesthetic of the film is beautiful. The Barbie film, I watched it with my friend, and again there was a lot of what did I just watch kind of scenes. All in all, I felt good when I came out of it. Like it's not really my cup of tea usually, but it was just a good feeling when I came out of it. So many little cameos. It was so pleasant to see Rob Brydon pop up, and I just felt good when I came out of it. So I'm gonna put that one in. That was a sort of feel good film for the year. TV shows. So Ted Lasso, that's the biggest one. So we watched it the third and final season sort of after everything had been released, so that we could sort of watch it as we wanted to. And it was kind of difficult to avoid spoilers. You know, when you do use online apps and things like that, socials, it is hard to avoid spoilers, but I do think the 3 seasons, it ended how it should have. It ended just at the right time. They didn't drag it out any further. It didn't need to be dragged out any further, and I think they ended it at the right time. The Mill. So The Mill is set in 1830s England, I think in Cheshire. It is about the workers of cotton mill, and they are sort of back then they were taken in by a family of benefactors. They're a wealthy family that own these mills and these businesses, and they take in, often these people are orphans, or they might come from a workhouse. They're bought from a workhouse, which is about as sus as it gets, people being bought. They're apprentice until they're 21 years old, but a lot of the time their paperwork was changed to make them a few years younger than they were, so that they could be paid a lesser wage for longer. So there was a storyline about that. Unfortunately, so there were 2 seasons, but unfortunately the second season was cancelled abruptly. I reckon we could have had two more episodes and it would have finished it off nicely, because there is sort of most of the second season they're on strike, and they're doing all these parliamentary law changes, and all these laws came in. For example, 9-year-olds, you can't work from below the age of 9 years old, which is, mind you, it was the 1830s. But a lot of the shows I enjoy watching, I do like a lot of period shows. I'm a little bit over all the romantic ones. I quite like the sort of workplace ones that teach you, this is why this law came in, this is why these child labour laws came in. I like the sort of, to me, that's more educational, and that's the kind of ones I enjoy. All Creatures Great and Small. So I discovered All Creatures Great and Small about midway through this year. It is beautiful. Apparently it is Nicholas Ralph's first acting role, and he did very well as James Herriot. Now, it is based on a true story, and there was a TV series in the 1970s. Some people think that one's better, but I'm yet to see the 70s one. I really enjoyed this one. The series is still going. There's still going to be more seasons, as far as I know. So it was based on a memoir. His real name was Alfred, but James Herriot was his pen name. And I mentioned Call the Midwife before. It's basically Call the Midwife, but as a veterinary clinic, and not only clinical work, so sort of domestic pets, but also there's a lot of farm animals involved. And there are a few confronting scenes, sort of surgeries and things like that. I don't know how I still continue to watch things that have surgeries, these medical shows, but my goodness, for some reason I still keep going back. I'm almost like a glutton for punishment, I find. The final TV series that I have discovered this year, it's only fairly recent, The Artful Dodger. Sort of going back into the sort of 19th century workplaces and things like that. Artful Dodger being the Artful Dodger from Oliver Twist. But grown up, he's now a surgeon, and he is in a penal colony in Australia. Jack Dawkins was the real name of the Artful Dodger, and he's played by Thomas Brodie Sangster, who is the kid from Love Actually. All grown up, he's now in his early 30s. He's now a surgeon. He's now working as a surgeon in this penal colony in Australia, and the supporting cast is fantastic. There is a great supporting cast. Damon Harriman is in it. Harriman. And Tim Minchin is in it, and they are both fantastic. And they're both the bad guys. But it's such a fun series. Video games. So I think this year I played more video games than I have in ever. Most of the video games I enjoy are story-led ones. So my ultimate favourite, and the one that I started the year with, was Siberia: The World Before. Now, I have enjoyed the Siberia series since I was about 10 years old. My cousin once gave me the demo, and then sort of, might have been, 6 or 7 years ago, something like that, I decided I'm going to rediscover it, and I'm going to start them from the beginning and just work my way up. And then of course when I found out there was a fourth one, I was so excited. I, however, wasn't really a fan of the ending of the third one. It just felt a little bit unfinished to me. But the fourth one, The World Before, is the most beautiful, artistically, oh, it is gorgeous. I'll see if I can find some screenshots and post them here. What I also like about it is that it's not only from the main character's perspective, it is from, there are other people's perspectives in it, and then there's also a huge revelation about her past and her family. Oh, it's just one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. And it did, I think there could be room for a fifth. I'm kind of hoping they bring out a fifth. Medieval Dynasty. I am a little bit over halfway of Medieval Dynasty. It is a young guy called Ransomir. He loses his family in some sort of war. I believe their land was raided or something like that. It's only spoken very briefly, but he basically comes to this valley and has to start his own village, start his own settlement, and go to neighboring villages to take on quests, take on, it might be something like, please hunt all these beasts in the woods at night, to something small like, can you please pick up this type of food from a neighboring village? Because so at the beginning it was, I did find it confronting, because it is quite violent, because there are hunting challenges. So while I like the story, it is confronting. But yeah, you're basically creating, it's a world building game mostly. You're building a village, you build each house, but you have to collect the resources yourself. But sort of as you grow your village, you can hire people to collect your resources for you. You can hire people to do the hunting for the gathering for the food. But yeah, mostly building materials, fur, meat, things like that. And the animation is beautiful. World War II Rebuilder. This was one of my ultimate favorites. So basically it's one of those games where they use parts of cities that were destroyed or damaged in World War II. Dunkirk Beach, parts of, they got the Remagen Bridge. That was a new one. That was sometimes they release maps separately, so you can add to your game almost like a DLC. Remagen Bridge was one of those. They had the Belfast dry docks where the Titanic was built. That was still being used during World War II, and that was damaged. There was a airfield, not certain where it was, in England. I'm gonna list the city names that they use. Essen in Germany. I can't remember exactly where, but I'll have the list here of the London, one of the London, was it London train station, or like there was a train station in London, in central London they used. But yeah, you go around, you have to fix up the buildings and rebuild new buildings, you clean up the paths. If there's a train carriage or something like that, you have to sort of separate them with a like a welding tool, like a blowtorch, and just dispose. Or you can use the use the materials for other purposes. It's a fantastic game, and I'm actually hoping they bring out more maps because I am really looking forward to it. The only thing I didn't like about it is that they have a big sandbox mode at the end, and I actually prefer sort of challenge modes or campaign modes to sandbox, because I like to have prompts. That's just the way my brain works. And I found the buildings, the land was a little bit too big. I wish there was some sort of prompts as to what to use, how to use it, all that. I know 1800, so it's another world building game. It's one of those ones where you have the grids. There are mobile games like this, but this is, I think, sort of, you got your grid, you have a starter house, and then once they've got all these resources, you can build up. But it's actually got a story behind it. You settle an island, and you start as farmers, workers, and they can go up to workers, and then goes from workers to artisans, and then artisans later will be engineers. I'm not quite into the engineers stage, but you can settle new islands, and I'm thinking about moving the farmers over there so I can build up a nice city, and then have sort of, I don't want to say I'm kicking the farmers out, but there's other production that can be used on other islands. So the main island may not have a certain fertility for a certain produce, but another island might. So I'm still a little way, I'm not as far as I'd like into it, but I am enjoying it. So the final section is makeup products that I have discovered this year. I have them in a bag, a little Target bag. Nice and professional. So the first one, this is my third bottle of this. This is the Mecca Max Life Proof Second Skin Foundation. Now, I have been a fan of the Ordinary Coverage Foundation. I can't believe I had to think about it. The Ordinary Coverage Foundation, big fan of it, got discontinued. Their makeup line got discontinued. The Ordinary discontinued their makeup line. They didn't market it very well, and I was really disappointed in it because it's a great foundation. I was also using that in my kit. I still am, just for now, until I'm able to justify buying some Moran of this in the different shades I'll need. What I liked about the Ordinary is that they're not only the actual product itself, but their shade naming system. So I use 1-1N, so 1 means it had a neutral undertone, and when I put a tan on, I use 1-2N. This shade here is 1-1-10, 110. I'm still working out the next shade up because it is the Australian summer, and I do occasionally tan for special occasions. I don't do it very often, but I feel good if I am nice and bronzed for special occasions. So yes, this is it looks pretty worth wear. This is my third bottle this year because I use it daily. I work a full-time job, so I wear plenty of makeup, and it just looks nice. Today, because of the new year and Christmas, and I've been eating terribly, my skin is a little bit scaly, dry, all the above. But I do like this foundation. I'd say it's a satin finish, medium, kind of almost like on the full coverage side. It's just a fantastic, lovely foundation. The next product I have been using, this is the Power Grip Primer from e.l.f. Now this is a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip, and I think it's just as good. I have used the Hydro Grip before. This is the same thing, but a fraction of the price. It's lovely. I like to put on some moisturizer because my skin is on the more dehydrated side. Then I'll pop this on, wait till it's tacky, and then apply my foundation. This is a lipstick I have been using. This is the lipstick I have been using all year. This is actually quite pink, so I use a brown lipstick. So I use a lip liner with a brown undertone. And then this on top, and it's a lovely colour. And it dries down nicely. You are supposed to shake it for the formula to start working. I like it is a glossy finish, sort of, again, a bit more, it's more of a satiny finish. It's just a really nice lipstick, and it's almost kiss proof. Almost kiss proof. This year I have, mostly from a pro kit, I have discovered Viseart. It has taken me a long time, this is in an awful state, it has taken me a long time to find a powder, a setting powder that I enjoy. I think I found it. This is the Viseart, I think it's pronounced Viseart. Yeah, just simply the setting powder, which is a translucent powder. It'd be nice if they came in different shades. And I have some shadows. Here's two here. They are tiny, I know. I have one that it's in my pro kit at the moment, so I don't have it with me. It is called the Paris Edit, and it's kind of more on the pinks and like mauve tones. And they are beautiful. This is the, what's this one called? Praline, Petites Fours. Praline. They look tiny, I know. I am wearing, I'm wearing this one in the inner corner. Yeah, they're just nice. And I've got this one. This is my transition shade. And basically with this packaging is that they are designed to be taken out of the packaging, so you can, they've got these little notches, so you can just take your finger and remove it really easily and then pop it back in if need be, and it's magnetic. So they are designed for pros. They're not cheap. I only buy them when there's a discount or some sort of sale on. Not specifically those ones, but the ones from the edits. The most gorgeous shimmer formula. Gorgeous. And the Petite palette came in one this size. This is the Petite Matte Neutral. Again, it's got the same notches, but these are, you know, browns and oranges and all sorts of shades. There's a black. So you got your cool tones, you got your warm tones. They're perfect. They are, and these are sort of the more the neutral side. This is everything I want in a matte brown palette, because it's got a shade for everything. Lightest to the darkest, warm, cool, and neutral. It's just perfect. The next thing I'm going to show, if anybody has seen my Christmas creations for this year that I completed 9 Christmas themed looks. These are the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Mattes, and now I have all of the primary colors and black and white. So we have Blackout and Lift, and then primary blue, red, and yellow. But I actually find the only concern is the yellow. I don't find all that primary yellow. It's slightly ochre, got a slight ochre undertone, so it's got more of a brownish undertone. So when I try and mix it with the blue to try and make a green, it pulls kind of more of a khaki tone rather than a bright green. So I was a little bit disappointed about that. What I do want to do is grab a neutral brown one and sort of use it to darken darken any foundation or something like that. Another tip is that you can mix a tinge of blue with a cream bronzer and turn it into a contour cream. So, well, that's if you've got a neutral undertone. Obviously, if you've got more of a warmer undertone, there comes, you know, color mixing again. This black works great as an eyeliner. They've got a nice thin squeezy tube, like the nib of it is quite thin, so you can, I like to put it on a palette, on like a plastic palette or a metal palette, and then use a brush to take it from there. I've used these many times, mixed colors with them, lightened things, all sorts, changed the undertone. I love these so much. And my final thing, and I am so disappointed in it, well, this is the Beauty Bay 201 crease, fluffy crease brush, eyeshadow brush. It was discontinued. I've been looking for it for ages because I want to add more of them to my kit. They are no more, and I haven't found one that I have liked just as much. Real Techniques had a similar brush a few years ago. They were limited edition, and it fell apart after a while. I do like Real Techniques, and I love Sam and Nick dearly. They're great makeup artists and content creators, and I'm so proud that they're back. I'm so happy that they're back, but I don't find the Real Techniques brushes are as good quality that everybody makes them out to be. But anyway, so yeah, this brush from Beauty Bay it's gorgeous, and it's my favorite. I like quite a thick blending brush for my transition shade, because I always start with a really like a nice soft transition shade. But this has been discontinued and I haven't found anything similar. So if somebody knows anything about that situation, can somebody let me know, or know how I can, where to find one similar that isn't terribly expensive? Because I do find brushes, particularly individual brushes, can be terribly expensive. Anyway, I am going to end on a happy note. So that was my roundup, my favorite books, films, movies, TV shows, video games, my favorite makeup of 2023. So I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to wish everybody a safe 2024. Please nobody claim that 2024 is going to be their year, because we all know what has happened in the past when people are trying to claim that. For me, this will be year 30. But yeah, I'm actually, while I'm going through a slight crisis about it, I've still got another 6 months, but I'm kind of looking forward to my 30s. So with that, have a fantastic, safe year, and I'll see you soon. Bye.